Hi, my name is Satnam Punglia. Welcome to my podcast. Hello, everybody. So today's podcast, we have with us Bryden, the digital entrepreneur. So, hello.
Hi, Satnam. How's things? Thank you very much for having me on. Very excited to be part of this.
No problem. Great to have you here. We want to firstly learn a little bit about yourself, your background. Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. Well, obviously, my name's Alan Bryden. I am an optometrist and I have my own optical practice. I started it from scratch approximately just over 12 years ago now. So it's a small village practice in a local place in Northern Ireland where I live. And sort of grew the practice over a good few years. And then around about 4 years ago, I took an illness that kind of impacted everything. I took a virus which affected my hearing, affected my balance, and I had to take off work for 8 weeks. If anybody else is an individual solo practice owner, if you have to take off from your practice for that length of time, things can get a little bit tricky. And during that time, I sort of thought to myself, what am I doing here? Because in my practice, growing my practice, if I'm not there, if I'm not generating income and can't do that, what am I going to do? So during that period, I kind of started to look at options on how to get to the point where I can actually, in a way, remove myself from my practice and live the lifestyle that I wanted whilst working the days of the week that I wanted, as opposed to being there 5-6 days a week. Because all this illness that I took was all stress-induced because of overworked, being in my practice so much, working really just too many hours, and then spending so much time away from my family. So I started to kind of explore the online marketing world, online business world, which kind of started me off in affiliate marketing. But then realizing these online strategies that could actually be applied to my business as well and to my practice. So that was something be applied to my practice as well. So I started trying different strategies, using these online strategies and repurposing them for my own optical practice, and started to get results, started to get new clients into my practice, new patients into my practice, and it kind of surprised me. So then I really focused all my time and attention in exploring online marketing, online structures in order to grow my practice, and also helping other business owners out as well along those lines. So that's basically a general review of the 12 years.
So where do you see your sort of practice going forward? Because one of the things we have at the moment is everything's changing. We don't know what the future is going to hold at the moment for anybody really. What can we do to adapt our practices? Because going forward, it is 2020, and going forward, things are going to be very different. The footfall is going to be different. The number of people we see is going to be different. So what are you doing digitally that can improve your bottom line and your customer numbers?
Yeah, well, that's the key thing. I think we're all in a time there at the time of recording this, like it's so uncertain. We're not sure how things are going to go going forward, how they're going to look, how many patients, customers are actually going to be coming in. But I think that's where honing back into the actual marketing side of things, because as practice owners, and I know a lot of my friends who are practice owners, we tend to take the advice of the so-called experts, the agencies, the people that supply us websites, Facebook ads experts, and people like that. But a lot of their kind of methods that I found from my personal experience, a lot of their methods are quite outdated. They're quite antiquated. Even the conventional website nowadays potentially is actually harming your practice, harming your business. And it's the whole concept. And the thing that I did, the kind of one thing that I switched about 2.5 years ago was taking control of how I market my business. As a small practice especially, you're the brand, you're the name of your practice. And if you can get your name and your face, especially out there, especially on like the likes of videos, using Facebook videos, Facebook Lives, using those kind of platforms, they are way more effective than running newspaper ads, magazine ads, websites, Google ads, things that cost a lot of money but don't get actual results. And that's the thing the advice that I would give for any practice owner is use the platforms at hand. You've got literally free platforms that you can use: Facebook, Instagram. You can use Pinterest as well, YouTube, and get your brand out there in a local basis. It's not like you're trying to appeal to the world. If you can focus and become what I would call the expert practice in your area, and it's a simple way of doing that is literally by producing content that's relevant to your ideal customer. And again, that's when I say ideal customer, that's one thing that I did in the past where I was trying to appeal to everybody. But if you can be specific about what your practice stands for and talk about that and educate your customers on that specific thing, and then target your ideal customers, you will, your status of expertise will increase rapidly within your local community. People will be sharing your content, people will be talking about you. And that's where the whole word of mouth thing comes, coming from a social media online environment, getting customers into your practice. And I think what practices do, like I see a lot of practices nowadays, especially over the lockdown period, they're using Instagram really well, they're using Facebook very well as well. They're actually posting content, which is great for awareness. But when you're not capturing a customer's details and not taking them off social media to get them into your environment, and the way that I would do that would be via capturing email addresses, capturing phone numbers, so that then you've got a database of potential clients there that then you can market to as you want to, as you wish. And that's free. It's free marketing, a free platform, and a free way of getting information to those customers. And the more you do that, the more know, like, and trust that they will have with you as a practice and a practice owner. And the more likelihood is that they will walk past every other practice in town or in your village to come to you, because you're providing the value. You're at the forefront of their mind when they think of opticians or think of something specific about what your practice stands for. You'll be the go-to practice. So I think that's probably, in my sense, that's the key thing, that what I would be doing and what I am doing now and what other practices should be doing now, going into this kind of new norm that we're going into. But that's specifically, yeah, from a lead generation side, from a customer acquisition side. But digital technologies as well, like, the likes of doing this kind of thing using Zoom. All of us are probably very familiar with Zoom now, or some kind of video conferencing. Even running kind of case histories over online calls, pre-screening your customers before they come into your practice. That will save a lot of time of the customer being in your practice with potential exposure with the coronavirus, etc. And then there's different tools and apps and kind of things that you can use nowadays within the digital world that can really enhance how basically how your practice is perceived in the eyes of the public, but also how it's way more efficient in the systems and the processes that you're running in your practice by implementing and integrating these strategies as well. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think we've moved away from websites a long time ago, and social media is the way to go. Just people being aware of you and what you do and what you offer the community. I know if I was to post something about me being an optician in my local group or my, like the local live spotted, etc. And what would happen is you just create awareness. And like you said, just giving information and things like that would make a massive difference and raise your profile massively.
Yeah, and I think coming from that point of view, because I know myself, like my experience, I never really liked selling, and a lot of practice owners are probably the same. A lot of optometrists, you're clinically trained in a caring healthcare environment. Suddenly you're thrown into either owning a practice or starting your own practice, but you need to generate income, you need to generate revenue. But there's always that little voice in your head that's always a little bit shy about selling to people or marketing to people, because I think people get confused between selling and marketing. The practice owners feel it's the same kind of thing. But all marketing is basically it's the breaking down of false beliefs in the customer that the customers have, then with the intention of a sale. But by breaking the false beliefs, you're providing value, you're meeting the needs of your clients, and then it's a logical process. You don't even have to sell to them. So if you structure it in a very specific way, especially using online, like if you're using social media, using online strategies or funnel strategies, which is what I use specifically in my practice, as opposed to websites, you can get people into very specific sections that they're basically pre-framed, so that they're educated about your products and services. They're connected to you because they know you, they see you via a video, even though it's not a live video. It's basically you talking to them on a screen on their phone, and then they're more kind of in tune with what you're about. They're more likely then to come to your practice based around that. Is specifically if you've targeted the right people. That's the key thing, because that's where a lot of strategies don't work. A lot of Facebook ad strategies, a lot of marketing doesn't work because they're too general. Their message is very general and they're not targeting specific people. And that's why if you can get the specific strategies and the right kind of approach to marketing, and you've got to set it up in a systemized manner, you get way more effective results. And that's something that it took me a long time to learn, a lot of trial, a lot of error, a lot of failure. But once you realize what works and get that plugged in, you can really work with any practice and get that working.
Yeah. Okay. So let's have an example of what would work. For example, in my area, we've got quite a high elderly population. Okay. So what would I do in my local social media, my marketing to attract those people, say 60 plus in my area? Because end of the day, what value can you provide to them, and what would they get in return from you?
Well, I guess there's two ways of approaching it, and it's something else that I realized within, like, with diving into the online marketing world. I've been involved with a lot of different mentors and people that are real experts in the global online marketing industry. But the key thing is, like, there's really three markets. It's health, wealth, and relationships, and that's the three markets that you should be sending your message to. It may not directly align with it. So, for instance, in the optical practice, and like in your practice, you've got your clinical and your retail. So in the clinical side of things, that's the health side. So if you have a 60-year-old patient, it's all healthcare. So you got to identify who's your ideal 60-year-old patient, 60-plus-year-old patient. What kind of problems and needs do they have? So you've probably got dry eye patients. You've got macular degeneration, which is a good one to run because it's quite prevalent. It's very in the elderly population. It's the risk factor. And one of the funnels that I've set up and run would be the macular degeneration funnel, where you're giving them either a free resource, either a PDF guide which you've put together, or a video that you've pre-recorded, educating the customer about the condition, and really putting them at ease at certain things that you can do, and the services that you provide to provide early detection of the condition, things like that. So if you can bring them into that funnel itself, that'll pre-screen them, kind of educate them, and then that'll grow the know, like, and trust with you. So they're more likely to come into your practice based on the expertise that they've got from you online. So that's something you could do from a healthcare point of view. And then obviously 60 plus, they're probably going into progressive lenses, varifocal lenses. So that will be then the retail side of things, which targets the relationships desire or relationships market, because it ties in with the eyewear that they're wearing. So we'd be talking about varifocal lenses. In my practice, I provide mainly Zeiss varifocals, and I link that into high-end eyewear, so really high-quality frames. So those would be the clients that I would be targeting, talking about how the frames are going to make them look great, see good. It enhances their relationships within the community, gives them confidence, things like that. And then also having Zeiss lenses, Zeiss varifocals, in my mind, are the best type of varifocals that they could be in, and explaining the benefits of that, and really just pre-educating them on that kind of structure, and then giving them the call to action at the end of both those separate kind of funnels. That would be book an appointment or request a call, just some kind of call to action to get them to take action, to get them into your practice. Because it's a whole process from online in this funnel structure that I use, and then the funnel continues in your practice because you're coming through your door. The receptionist is the next step in the funnel, and then you're in the testing room, and then you're upselling them and various things. But the key thing is you're not selling them in a sleazy way. It's providing as much value. You're serving your customer to the highest level that you can. So if you're providing them the highest quality products and services, and you're confident in that, and you're presenting that to them through the whole process, then they're more likely to trust you, to like you, to take your advice, and to ultimately then convert a better dispense at the end of it if you're selling them glasses, or get them into some kind of sort of healthcare, eye care system where with macular degeneration, you're getting them in every maybe 6 months, providing some kind of direct debit, continuity scheme, which is going to provide services at the highest level. So that's kind of, a long-winded take on what what I would do.
I think that's brilliant, because you know what, the old marketing, whatever it was, really it was a splattergun approach.
Yep.
You're hoping that somebody would come into your practice, somebody would walk off the street, come into your practice. But with this social media, with Facebook advertising, with various targeting methods, you can say, I want to see patients between age 60 and 61, or 60 and 65, or 60 and 69, and male, female, etc., living in even a very specific postcode, half a mile radius from the practice if you wished. And that's how niche you can get with these marketing. And so you're serving your client perfectly, not just a general approach, but ideal approach.
Yeah. And the thing is, nowadays, people's expectations are stupidly high. People expect to have customized messages.
Yeah.
They expect to be, specific to what they need and what they want. And if you're providing those services and messages to the customers, they will come to you. It's as simple as that. And I think that's the thing as well. It's like not by practices sitting back and waiting for customers. Like that was like when I opened my practice, I set up shop. I sat back and just waited for people to come in. To start with, people did. But as the years went by, that started to dwindle off with competition in the marketplace, with the multiples. You know, as an independent practice specifically as well, you gotta use this what's called attention-based marketing or interruption marketing, which is using Facebook, Instagram. And it's not, interrupting someone in a very shaking them way. It's more like when they're, because people are, their eyeballs are on Facebook, especially a demographic, a 45-plus-year-old will generally have a Facebook account. Even somebody in their 70s, 80s now generally, because the average age of Facebook users is increasing year on year. And they will generally all be on Facebook, the vast majority. And they spend their time, like yourself, you probably do it yourself, your wife, your family, they all do it. They're scrolling. And if you can be popping up in their newsfeed, either via an organic kind of post or even an ad, or like literally spending £5 a day on a Facebook ad, targeting a specific clientele, to initially get a database together. Because if you can get a set of customers that are actually in your practice that have come from your Facebook advertising or your Facebook page, and they're high value clients, you can group that and create a lookalike audience on Facebook as well. And then Facebook does the work for you. They go out, they get exactly the same type of people, and then you're spending less on your advertising. You're spending nothing, like peanuts anyway to start with, but you're spending even less on the likes of Facebook advertising when you have a actual proven audience there that are buyers in your shop, buyers in your practice, and you can retarget people on that as well. But yeah, like I could go, you could talk about this all day. I could go into various different things, which I won't do because it's very complicated. But when you know the structures and have them set up, it's simply set them up once and let them run, in the background. And that's because a lot of business owners I talk to, they say they've tried Facebook ads. For it, like I'm talking about Facebook, that's just one thing you can do, but they've tried it once and it hasn't worked for them. But it's because they're too general. They've tried one approach, one strategy. But when you have it very specific with targeted, pixeling your pages with Facebook pixels and creating those ideal specific types of clients or categories, then you can simply just rerun that on autopilot, which is the beauty of free platforms like Facebook, social media, and using that as an advantage for your practice. So yeah, it's interesting.
That's quite advanced, actually. Pixels were
Yeah,
mentioned.
sorry. Yeah. Let's not go down that road.
But you know what? This is the world we live in. This is the world we live
Yeah.
in, and people don't know that these adverts that appear in front of you are not just by accident. They appear because somebody has said, "You're my client. You're the type of person I want in my business." So we can target very specifically the ideal client you want, and pay minimal sort of advertising costs and free, with the social media, rather than blanketing everything. And some of the stuff you've gone into, I totally understand that, but most practice owners wouldn't understand that. So you can create what is called a funnel to capture these people, your ideal client. Say it's a male or female, age 50 to 60, who wears progressive lenses, has money to spend, and they will be willing, a buyer basically, based on what Facebook knows about them. And when they come into your store, they're already been converted because they know, like, and trust you already, and they're aware of you and the value you've already provided. So by the time they get to you and they say hello to you in person, I think they're already there, aren't they? So as long as you are polite and they get a good experience within your store, in your practice, then they're going to be buying. So you don't have to sell, like you said. You're not selling them anything in particular.
And the other thing is, like with that, is you're not being sleazy. You're not just, the other thing is, you see a lot of businesses doing this, firing out some kind of 90% off offer or get XYZ discount. You don't have to go down that route as well, just by simply getting sort of a consistent stream of content out there where you're kind of edu-selling or educating your customers. You're providing the value. You don't have to go and be like, like the multiples, you don't have to be competing on price. When you sort of stick your pole in the sand and say, look, I am My practice stands for this. I'm the expert practice in whatever it may be. It could be eyewear, it could be glaucoma, it could be healthcare, it could be whatever type of kind of strategy and way you want to work your practice. Once you determine that and start educating the general locality, people will start to come to you. And then you're offering, it's all a logical sequence as well. You're offering the highest quality value, highest quality products and services. And the people that will value that will come to you. The people that want the cheap, free glasses, free this, free that, and the other, you don't want those clients anyway, with respect, because you are running a business. You want to be working with people that you want to work with, that value your products and services. So they're more than welcome to go off to, wherever, if they wish. They'll probably pay as much there, but we won't go into that. But it's just a matter of getting the perspective and the perception of your practice across in a very authentic and ethical way, which every practice owner shouldn't have any problem doing that, because we're working a healthcare service, a healthcare setting where we are providing help and value and a service for our customers. So, and yeah, just using those tools, like it's simple, just, Facebook, like even if you're brave enough, which Facebook Lives are brilliant. Facebook Lives are amazing. If you've got a local practice, a village practice, people love to watch that. People love to watch the journey, what you're doing, even simple things like showing like background, what's happening behind the scenes in your practice, how to repair a specific pair of glasses, how to assemble a rimless frame, just simple little things that you will do on a day-to-day basis. Just getting the receptionist staff to pull out their smartphone and record somebody, glazing a frame or repairing a frame or, styling a frame with a customer. All these different things adds to content, and content's king. And if you can have a practice that's producing, more content than the other competitors in your marketplace, in your locality, then you will be at the forefront of people's minds and be seen as the expert practice, even though you might feel uncomfortable talking about being an expert. But in the eyes of your customer, you are an expert because you're an optometrist, you're a practice owner, so you have the level of expertise that they require and want. And by doing these things, it projects your practice into their kind of mindset, mind space, so that they can hopefully take action to come to you then.
I think you hit the nail on the head there with regards to the multiples. There are plenty of multiples out there, and there's plenty of customers for everybody. And one of the key things is you're not really competing against value multiples or whatever. What you're providing is a value to your value client. Okay,
Yeah.
You are attracting that client. You're not after anybody else. If they wish to go somewhere else for free for various things like that, that's fine. If they want to spend just NHS vouchers and things like that, that's great. You may not want those customers in your practice, not because you don't care for them. It's just that they're not your kind of client. Your client, you said you've got a high-end practice. You have Zeiss lenses, you have designer frames, unique frames, etc., etc. So you want to attract that sort of clientele. So your value that you're adding, the education that you're providing, is to attract those sort of clients. And no disrespect to any other business, if you have a certain type of clientele, if you said, look, I live in this part of town, they're all NHS patients, that's okay, because the marketing that you have can actually market to that clientele. It's not an issue. What we're saying is that the social media that you have can focus on anything or anyone or any type of client that you want. So the question is, pick a client and base your social media, your marketing towards that client. And, there's no reason why you can't do that and get your perfect client coming through the door every day. So would you say that?
No, absolutely. That's exactly what you said is perfect, because I think, again, it's something that I learned the hard way. I didn't go through this because within the online marketing place, within the online business world, they always tell you to be specific, pick your niche, pick an avatar. They call them avatars, your ideal client, and actually, spend time evaluating who your ideal client is, their age, the demographics, but also as detailed as what kind of magazines would they read, what kind of programs would they watch on TV, what kind of Facebook groups would they be a part of, people they would follow, things like that. It's really going very detailed. And by doing that, you are focusing all your time and energy and marketing on that specific client, because once you do that, that's where you see the change in your practice or in any business, so to speak. Because I went for years and years just being very general, very specific. But when I honed in on that specific ideal client, the person that wants kind of high quality products values your quality in products or services, and wants that something a little bit different, something that's more specific to them, then when I was targeting those people, I was perhaps alienating certain groups or certain people coming into my practice, and certain people did leave my practice, didn't come, because my frames, my frame range and stock was getting more expensive month on month, and people were coming in, and we still cater for the whole spectrum. I'm not going to turn away a patient based on the fact that they can't afford 300 pair or pound pair of glasses or something like that, because as I say, we are here to provide a service for people, and it's a healthcare service, and I will never turn anybody away from my practice. But it's not to say that you don't have to specifically market to those people. Those people will come to you if they wish to, and that's absolutely fine. They're more than welcome. But the kind of clients that you want, and if you can be very specific and very targeted, laser focused, and then put all your marketing messages around that as well, and put those out into the online marketing world, online Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be, that'll generate more awareness and get people into your practice that way. But being specific certainly is definitely the key to getting success using these strategies. Yeah.
You're absolutely right in terms of your clients. You're not going to turn away those people. But when you're buying a car and you're marketing to your ideal customer, if somebody wants a Ford Focus and you're actually selling, the latest BMW i8, they're two different people, and those people are not going to wander into your store and go, "Can I have one of those?" Because that's not where they want to be. They look at your shop front and go, "That's not for me. I know where Ford has a garage. I'm going to go there." But those people who look at your shop front and go, "i8, BMW, that's my kind of, I'm going in there," and they will walk through that door. You don't have to sell them anything because you've already given that value to them. So the customer, the patient, chooses to come through your doors. You don't close the doors to anybody.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you say. The patient, the customer, the prospects making the choice on their own, their information that they've consumed and the perception of your practice. They're making the choice themselves. They're making the decision. So you're not having to do a hard sell or come to me because I'm great at this, that, and the other. You're just providing the value up front. And it's not something it is, yes, time consuming. If you're recording videos and things like that, like doing Facebook Lives every day and things like that, most practice owners don't have the time to do that. And I'm not saying that you have to do that, but maybe doing 1 or 2 a week, 2 or 3 minutes long, with some kind of information that will be of benefit to your ideal clients. That by itself will help. Even just doing that one strategy twice a week, talking about various things, that will attract those customers in. Because like the number of people that have come into my practice, and especially over the winter months, I done a funnel based on Zeiss drive safe lenses, for night driving, the anti-glare type lens that they have. And the amount, it was all men as well, because I specifically targeted men, because where I live, there's a lot of lorry drivers, a lot of people driving tractors and various things. So those type of people, and the amount of people come in saying, "Oh, I saw something about this type of lens that you wear for night driving, and I'm actually a lorry driver, and it would really benefit me. Could you tell me more about it?" So the conversation's already started by you just shooting one little video, 2-3 minute long video, by yourself. It's not live or anything. It's just a pre-recorded video popped up on a page, a landing page or funnel page, and the conversation's already started. And then you just simply have to explain the benefits to the customer, because they're already a warm customer. They already are aware of what you have to offer, and perhaps they've gone and done their own research as well about the product, which most people will do online. But you can just then explain the benefits. So it's just simple strategies, simple things that don't require a lot of time, energy, and zero money, really. And again, for any practice, especially nowadays, you don't want to be wasting money on ineffective marketing, because that'll just be, it's just not the way to go.
I think you're right. I mean, I worked in a practice where most patients either had a horse or went fishing. So the moment you asked a history of, so what do you do in your spare time? And it's, "Oh yeah, I've got a horse," or "I fish all the time." And so we sold a lot of polarized lenses, tints, etc. Safety glasses for those people who were riding and were myopic, etc. So just you knew from the lifestyle what they needed and what they wanted. So if you are in an environment or a population where they have a certain pastime, again, it comes down to your location of your practice and knowing your customer and your patient well, that you can offer these add-ons or extra products. Because you're not selling anything at this point, and we keep reiterating this. We're not selling anything really. What we're actually doing is giving the best service we can. So so that when they leave your practice, you haven't done them a disservice and saying, oh, by the way, I realized they went fishing, but I didn't offer them some sort of safety wear for when they were fishing. That's a disservice to your customer, isn't it?
But absolutely. And I think it's a shift in mindset that's needed, and a shift that I had to make myself, because I was always very much of the way of, I didn't want to give them the most expensive thing. But in realizing that, well, you get what you pay for normally, usually, but in the optics world as well, it's like some lenses I know are very, very good, but they're really expensive. But if that's the best type of product for that particular customer, I'm going to be, telling them about it. I'm going to be talking about it and explaining the benefits to fit around their needs and wants, their lifestyle. It's not just about, oh, I want you to buy this product because I'm going to make more money on it. It's about what's going to serve those customers the best. And if you've got it set up and structured in a certain way, that means more profit for your practice as well. But it's providing, it's the value that you provide. It's the key thing. It's just provide as much value as possible for your customers and serve them to the highest level. And that will get results.
I think your practice, you're not open 6 days, 7 days a week, are you? So
no. Like, again, this shift happened around 3 years ago, where after my whole issue with my ear, the illness that I had, I was working 5-6 days a week, and that's what led on to the stress. I had a very young family at the time too, a little baby and a 2-year-old, and I was spending way too much time away from them. And I decided just to completely restructure things. I shifted up into more of a high-end frame range, target specific people who want that service and product. And I went from working 5 days a week generally. I literally only worked I would go testing 2 days a week in the practice. And then on the other times, I use spending working on different online type businesses that I'm kind of involved in, and just helping other business owners as well with growing their businesses, getting more customers in. It's about creating a lifestyle. Somebody said, well, it's like, you don't want to be on your deathbed thinking back to your life and go, I wish I had spent way more time in a dark room testing strangers' eyes. Really, really wish I had done more of that. It's not really what I want to be lying there thinking. So I want to be at the point where, I took the initiative and I kind of structured my life and my work the way I wanted to serve me, provide for my family, but also the lifestyle to choose when I wanted to work and to kind of progress and grow as well through other avenues. And it's just one of those things. And my wife and I had set up a local business thing, a group, at the start of the whole COVID, the virus thing, where we're helping other business owners as well evolve through this whole period, because it's all about, creating a lifestyle and just having multiple streams of income as well, which is key, because if you rely on one source, you could be in bother. And this whole virus has highlighted that for many businesses, potentially practices alike. So it's about getting systems and processes set up. And the whole thing with this marketing thing, it's marketing, but it's business. Yeah. Somebody said as well, it's not the thing that you do in your business, it's the marketing of the thing that you do that actually grows your business. And that's one of the biggest lessons I learned, was you have to take control of the marketing. You've got to, these are probably the most effective, most important skills that you could learn right now on the planet, is marketing, because you can take those skills and you can plug that into any type of venture you have going forward, be it online business, be it your practice, be it a second practice, or a completely separate business venture. Once you know how to do these things properly and know how to structure things, because it's all a system at the end of the day, it's all systems. And once you understand them and implement them, and then start to see results, you get the momentum, and that's the key thing. But yeah, sorry, probably went off on a tangent there.
That's quite all right. I know we can talk on for hours about this. I mean, really, what I want to know is, where can we find out more information about what you do and how you can target customers and patients so that you can offer them the best service to your ideal client? I mean, you are the digital guy, so where could we find you?
Yeah, well, basically, I put it together. It's a PDF guide. Basically, it's very accessible. It's a free guide that you can access. I'll give you the link as well, Satnam. But the link is basically I've done a shortened link. It's bit.ly/optician30.
Yeah.
If you go to that link, that'll take you to the free PDF guide. So you simply just leave your email address. You'll get a download of the guide, and it's basically 30 ways to attract clients or patients into your practice in 30 minutes or less. So it's things that I've been using in my own practice, things that work very effectively, and just simple things that you can test and try in your practice. It's simply like take one or two of them and just test them out, see what kind of results you get from it. I would suggest, especially the way things are now, Facebook is probably the best platform to be using, to be exploring. There's different things as well. Again, I won't go into it now, but I suppose there's ways you can optimize your profile as well. That's a strategy that I learned about 6 months ago, and hardly any business is doing. It's crazy, where you optimize your Facebook profile, but that actually automatically, organically brings in, you can connect it to a funnel, bringing leads into your practice as well. But yeah, the resource would be the best place to go to start, I think, just to get a general idea. As I say, it's absolutely free to access. So yeah.
We can add those links at the bottom, the
Yeah,
show
yeah.
notes and things like that, so it's not a problem. So just like to say thank you very much for sharing your time and your knowledge with us today. I think it's a really exciting avenue, really, going forward. I think bricks and mortar alone is really not enough these days. Traditional advertising is just not really working anymore. And you need, for your business to be successful, you need to have a successful brand, a successful marketing strategy. And I think you've given us an insight into what really needs to happen to make that work and to make your business successful. Because the multiples out there, they can throw money at adverts on TV all day long, but other practices have to be more focused and use their money more wisely so that they can target the right customers, the right patients, and help the people they want to help, not just generally everybody, because that's not possible. So thank you very much for your time, Alan.
Yeah, no
And
worries.
we look forward to speaking again soon and seeing work together.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for having me.